Hey everybody, Matty here with Altcoin Buzz. Happy Monday. Hope you're having a great one so far. Today we are talking about the failure of the global financial system here on Cointelegraph.com. That is because global debt has just reached $255 trillion, or the equivalent of $12.1 million per Bitcoin on Etherscan.io. We're counting down to the Istanbul network update. You have many analysts that are taking Ethereum very seriously ahead of that Istanbul hard fork. And then, seemingly out of nowhere, we have Fusion, ticker FSM, that has jumped over 100% in the last 24 hours. We'll give you a little bit of a rundown, let you know what the Fusion project is all about. All of a sudden, it is number 88 on CoinMarketCap.com. And from a few different perspectives here on Medium.com, we have updates with regards to Fusion. And then we have at Roloff Botha, who describes how Bank of America has ditched him as a customer. Wait until you hear the reason. It's absolutely ludicrous. Other crypto leaders in the space have also had similar horror stories with various banks, various financial institutions. We'll run through one or two of those. But before all that, let's get started with a snapshot of the market on CoinMarketCap.com. We are at $235 billion total market cap. Things kind of more or less sideways today, or at least unchanging since yesterday, roughly speaking. Bitcoin right now at the time of this recording, $8,603 with a dominance of 65.9%. Let's start here on Cointelegraph with this astounding story. Plan A has failed because global debt is about to hit $255 trillion. That's equivalent to $12.1 million per Bitcoin. The world's combined debt will hit $255 trillion by the end of 2019, equal to about $32,500 for each person on the planet, or $12.1 million per Bitcoin. Does anybody ever stop to ask, to whom do we owe this debt? To whom exactly is the Earth or the planet indebted? It makes no sense. It's yet another failure of this stagnant dinosaur of a financial system. And by the end of this year alone, the combined global debt will have expanded an extra $12 trillion compared to the end of 2018. Usually when debt is discussed, we talk about the U.S. Federal Reserve. The national debt in the U.S. alone has hit $23 trillion, with the Fed undaunted by the idea of the debt continuing to expand. There seems to be no plan in place, no concern really of that problem, which is just accelerating and getting worse and worse and worse. But there remains a slight glimmer of hope. As far as I'm concerned, this debt problem is basically unsustainable and it can't really be solved. I mean, I haven't even heard a proposal as to how to solve it. However, the silver lining is that the more it's perpetuated, the more it runs away from us as a problem, as an escalating catastrophe, the more Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies start to look pretty good. As I mentioned, if you take all that debt, you divide it by 21 million, you have about $12 million of debt for each Bitcoin that will ever exist. So that's a little bit of a positive, at least, to frame it in those perspectives. Mark my words, members of the Altcoin Buzz Army, this problem is only going to get worse with time. It's going to be exacerbated year after year after year. The only solution, as the author points to here, is to claim your monetary sovereignty. And you all out there know how that's done. In other news, on Etherscan.io, the Istanbul network is just 18 days away. The upgrade is scheduled to take place at block 9,069,000. That's just over 18 days away at the time of this recording. The target right now is Friday, December 6th at 9:42 a.m. GMT. That's Eastern Standard Time. And accordingly, you have an analyst that wants to buy every Ethereum dip as the Istanbul hard fork nears here on newsbtc.com. Certain analysts are saying that pretty much every Ethereum dip right now is worthy of being bought. And this is an attitude that comes about as Ethereum's Istanbul hard fork quickly approaches. For quite a while now, Ethereum has been trading in the 180, low 180, high 170 range. But as I mentioned, traders are taking it more and more seriously as pretty much every asset is taken more and more seriously ahead of a substantial fork. Here you have trader X0 who says, as far as Ethereum USD goes, any substantial dip is a buy for me. Nothing macro bearish here until price closes below the range lows. Galaxy, who is another popular analyst, pointed out in a tweet that this time of year is typically a volatile one for Ethereum and other cryptos, and he seems to believe that this volatility will favor Ethereum's bulls. Quote, that time of the year when ETH pumps so hard people think it's going to take over BTC is coming again. Perhaps not, but the indication sometimes feels that way. That is not financial advice in any way, shape, or form. Do with those opinions and that information what you will. But again, the Istanbul Network update is happening in just over 18 days from now. Back to CoinMarketCap.com for a little second to take a look at this diamond in the rough as far as performance. Fusion, ticker FSN, at $1.34 currently is up over 100%, 109.13% spike in the last 24 hours with a market cap just under 50 million and 24-hour volume of about 8.5 million US dollars. Let's take a look at this bad boy. Certainly it's been higher in the past, and it's been around a little while, since at least 2018. But what is the sudden spike all about? Well, Fusion FSN bills itself as an all-inclusive blockchain-based financial platform that offers cross-chain, cross-organization, and cross-data source services through smart contracts. The project uses the Hierarchical Hybrid Consensus Mechanism, HHCM, which amalgamates elements from POW, POS, and parallel computing with the goal of creating an efficient and safe platform. Let's now look at a series of quick updates which may explain the price spike we've just noted in Fusion. Fusion Foundation wallet theft update 11 of 13. This from November 13th. Just a few days ago, the criminal case has been opened. After heavy efforts by the Fusion Foundation and the authorities, the wallet theft executed against the foundation on the 28th of September has been officially classified as a crime. Personally, I wasn't especially aware of that in the first place, but there you go. That's the update in case you've been following this story. Next steps with Fusion's ERC20 FSN. This from a little bit earlier in the month, from November 6th. Dear Fusionites, per the article released to the community on the 10th of October, our initial plan was to issue a new ERC20 FSN smart contract address in order to remove the ERC20 FSN tokens that remain in the thief's possession. The step-by-step mechanics to execute the solution are described in this document. So again, this relates to a recent theft, at least which they're taking very seriously, and it looks like that whole situation is progressing at least somewhat favorably. Back to November 16th, now also on Medium, Fusion's EasySwap gateway has been reopened. EasySwap has been enhanced with additional measures to prevent the thief from participating in the swap. Should Fusion detect suspicious transactions through these measures, there may be a delay of up to 7 days for a swap to clear. In such situations, the foundation will promptly notify the community to expect slower clearing time. So it certainly looks like they're taking their security seriously. Maybe that's a partial explanation for this pump that we've seen, but again, 109% over the last 24 hours. My advice is always never to chase pumps. If you're catching a project that's already at the top, look, it's coming back down slightly already as I refresh. I would not chase all-time highs. However, that is very impressive. So kudos to the team over at Fusion for that accomplishment. Back to Twitter here. Roelof Botha, after being a customer of Bank of America for 20 years, I received this notice today that they decided to fire me as their customer with absolutely no explanation. Taking a look at the highlighted part here from November 4th, 2019, after a careful review of your banking relationship, we've made the decision to close your account above. Again, with no information provided, no context, that's how they can operate. Absolutely. I mean, that is totally reprehensible. I don't know Roelof Botha personally. Obviously, I don't know anything about him at all. In fact, and if he were doing something illicit or he were breaking the law, I would be able to understand the Bank of America's decision. But there seems to be no indication that that's the case, no hint in any way that he was doing something shady or underhanded. Your personal checking savings account ending with whatever will be restricted from use in 21 days and permanently closed 30 days from the date of this notice. Absolutely unacceptable. Here in related news on ccn.com, this is pretty funny, and if you have a few minutes, check out this article. There are different crypto market leaders that are basically sharing their worst banking experiences. We'll give you one example here, courtesy of CZ Binance, that's Changpeng Zhao, who had an RBC account as a teenager. He proudly deposited $10 into it, only to find out that they charged $3.99 monthly. A couple months later, I owe them a bunch of money. My first banking experience. Don't know if they still do that. Regardless, it's not a small bank. RBC is not a small bank. I bank with RBC. They are a major institution, and I've caught them being guilty of that, those kinds of things in the past as well. Check out the other horror stories here as well, again on ccn.com. We'll link to this article in the description below. That about wraps it up for today, everybody. Do be sure you're following us on all the regular social media channels and keep checking back into altcoinbuzz.io for the latest. Go ahead, like, subscribe, share, hit the bell to receive notifications if you've enjoyed this video. Check out our links below on how you can get a $50 MCO card, $60 worth of Bitcoin on AAX.com. Sign up, of course, for our newsletter, but have a great Monday, everybody. Best of luck if you choose to invest. And as always, we hope to see you again soon in our next video. Take care.